Good afternoon, everyone. We would like to thank you for joining our third virtual town hall. Want to remind everyone that you can go to our virtual town hall website, which you see on the screen here. That will have links to be able to watch the previous two virtual town halls that we have conducted. And also, once this town hall is completed, a video to today's virtual town hall will be posted to that site as well. You can also find a series of frequently asked questions and the answers to those posted on that site that we continue to update as we receive more questions from our colleagues across campus. We'd also like to thank everyone who submitted their questions in advance for today's virtual town hall. A reminder, today's topics that we're going to focus on will be instruction, technology, and the student experience. We also expect we will have time to answer a few select questions on other topics that have come through. And a reminder, you can submit questions during the town hall as well using the Q&A feature. One other item for today's town hall is that you will be hearing about NEST ambassadors. That may be a new term to many of you. These are going to be trained student leaders who will be assigned to help cultivate and reinforce that culture of safety, responsibility, and caring for others across campus. We know that is going to be very important as we prepare for the upcoming academic year. And several private donors have already agreed to financially support this initiative. We're grateful for that. But when you hear some of the other speakers addressing what NEST ambassadors will be doing, that's what they're talking about in those instances. This is the third scheduled town hall for faculty and staff. We will be sending out a survey after this town hall to receive your feedback about how you have received these town halls. And we also are planning to do virtual town halls for students and families after the 4th of July. So stay tuned. We will have more information to come on this. And we've received a number of questions that have come in pertaining to masks and face coverings. And many of us, of course, have received guidance on the use of those on campus. And we are working on the campus-wide policy for masks and face coverings. But before we get on to the rest of the town hall, we thought it was important to address those questions. So I'd like to ask our Director of Human Resources, Corey Piotrowski, if she could provide an update on when we might be able to expect that we can share that policy with the campus community.
Yes, thanks, JJ. As you've mentioned, we do have a fully written face mask, face covering policy that we are getting ready to publish here very, very shortly. When you receive this policy, it will state that everyone on SVSU's campus inside a building will be required to wear a face mask or a face covering. That means all faculty, all staff, all students, as well as visitors will be required to wear a face mask inside of buildings. SVSU has a very caring campus community, and one of the best ways that you can show respect and care for your fellow Cardinals is to wear a face mask. It looks out for their health and well-being as well as your health and well-being. If an employee refuses to wear a mask while here at SVSU, that will become an HR issue. If a student refuses to wear a mask here at SVSU, that will be a student code of conduct issue, and those issues will be addressed accordingly. JJ, let me just take an opportunity to say thank you to everybody who worked on and contributed to this policy. It took us a while to get here, but it was so important that we get it right. And we really appreciate all of the input and contributions. We appreciate you and thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Corey, for providing that update. And also, again, want to thank everyone who has been submitting questions on that and on other topics. And at this time, I would like to turn things over to President Bashand, who has some remarks to share with us. President Bashand.
Thank you, JJ, and thanks to all of you that have joined us for the third town hall at SVSU. I want to provide you with a few updates for those of you that haven't been on campus in a while, but I'll start with last Monday we had our Board of Control meeting. A couple major decisions were made. The first was that we froze tuition at last year's tuition levels on all of our students this fall, enhancing the affordability of students being able to attend SVSU. Secondly, the Board of Control passed what we call a continuation budget. Normally, at this time of year, we have a pretty good idea on enrollment and finances and state funding. This year, there's so many variables that I've discussed with all of you in earlier town hall meetings. So they passed a continuation budget, and more direct budget decisions will be made early in the fall when we finally determine what the enrollment's going to be at SVSU. We're also waiting for some information on potential cuts, potential significant cuts from the state, which provides 22% of the university's budget. And of course, I mentioned in an earlier meeting that we're kind of hoping that there's going to be some stimulus support to help us through this particular difficult stretch of finances from Congress and the United States Senate. Those determinations have yet to be made, and we're expecting to hear some information or more detailed information about that as a possibility sometime late in July. I have noticed that there are more people on campus, more of us gravitating back to campus on a daily basis. I've observed for the first time student tours on campus. The admissions office is open on kind of a limited basis, and I see Anderson Bearden walking mass students and parents around campus through right past my windows in the front, and I got to tell you, it's a very good feeling. So I'm just starting to see more kind of steady traffic of people gravitating back to their offices. Some of us find it's just a much better environment to do work when we can come to our office. And for those of us that have doors that close, we don't have to wear masks in our own office as long as we don't have other staff or guests with us. Also, I can tell you that jogger traffic on campus has continued to increase. I mean, this best kept secret has been discovered by all manner of joggers, walkers. People with dogs are especially attracted to our campus. You might notice that for those of you that jog on our pathways, that there are probably more dogs around than in previous years. And of course, every morning about 8:10, the former dean of College of Business walks right by my office, Jill Wetmore and her husband, Ned, and I know they want to go to Starbucks because that's part of their normal routine. But so I think they walk right by it and kind of look in the window and once again conclude that it's not quite open and continue on their walk. So I wish, I just want to extend my well wishes to all of you that are still working from home, and express my appreciation to the countless number of people that I'm talking to each and every day that are doing their absolute best to develop safety policies and appropriate protocols so we can get back in the educational business this fall in as safe a way as possible. To all those folks, and I think you all know who you are, thank you from the bottom of my heart. At this time, I'd like to turn the program over to Provost and Vice President Deborah Huntley, and we'll talk about the student experience, anticipated student experience this fall, instructional technology, and other matters that you've brought to our attention through your questions. Well, thank you. Deb?
Thanks a lot, Don, and welcome to all of you. I'm glad you're participating again. It's rewarding to know how many people are tuning into these town halls. You know, it seems like about 5 minutes ago that we were doing our video to congratulate our May graduates from SVSU. And now we find ourselves at the end of spring semester. Classes end this week and summer term begins next week. It does remain fairly quiet on campus, as Don said, although, as he said, we are seeing more people starting to come back. And it is really nice to see our colleagues and friends, albeit with masks and at a safe distance. And we certainly look forward to seeing more of you as we gradually reopen the campus for operations. But the quiet on campus really belies the activity that's been going on behind the scenes to get ready for a safe and productive new academic year. We continue to develop safety protocols. We've identified and purchased new technology and equipment. We've developed additional professional development opportunities and just a myriad of other things. You know, we have no crystal balls, and uncertainty remains surrounding the full impact of the COVID-19 pandemic. But I do know that we have made enormous progress in preparing for a vibrant and successful fall term. With regard to instruction, we've worked through our class schedules in light of the revised classroom capacities that Ron Portwine talked about a couple of weeks ago, and we've nearly completed that process. We anticipate at this point that 3/4 of our courses will either be face-to-face or hybrid courses that incorporate significant in-person interactions that are so critical to student learning and the student engagement. We did increase our percentage of online courses from about 10% to about 25% to help us maintain the social distancing that is critical for safety on campus and to accommodate those who prefer remote opportunities. An important lesson from the COVID-19 pandemic is the need to be flexible, and we are building flexibility into our course design independent of the delivery method. Josh Odie, the Associate Provost, will highlight the preparations that we have been making for fall instruction. One thing that we do know is that technology will be a critical part of all courses this fall, and Jim Maher, Director of IT, will provide some comments regarding the tools and training regarding technology. We also know that for a student, the student university experience extends beyond the classroom, and we've been looking into student services and student life and student activities to determine how we can maintain those services and offer meaningful engagement opportunities while minimizing risk and maintaining safety. Sydney Childs, Associate Provost for Student Affairs and Dean of Students, will describe those efforts. But personally, I would like to thank the literally hundreds of faculty and staff members who've been working hard this summer to allow a safe return to campus activities. The key to our success in these uncertain times is our shared commitment to our fundamental values of outstanding education with a shared responsibility for a safe campus environment. As Corey Petrowski said earlier, one of our greatest strengths is the amazing sense of community, which I know will serve us well as we move into the fall semester. So without further ado, I'm going to turn this over to Josh, who will share with you the planning and preparations we've been doing for instruction. Josh?
Thank you, Deb. And actually, thank you to everyone that's attending today. I'd first like to start by recognizing the work of the instructional implementation team. Like faculty and staff from really across the campus have engaged in numerous conversations regarding all aspects of instruction for the fall. And we have talked about the physical classroom space, pedagogical strategies, and really all types of courses. We have talked about technology support, academic support, and really how to communicate all of these changes with our students. The work of this team has been centered around preparing for the fall semester. And much of the work has shaped how the Center for Academic Innovation is offering support to faculty across campus. I personally want to thank Dr. Poonam Kumar and the entire Center for Academic Innovation staff for all that they have done to help provide that instruction for the faculty and instructional support for the faculty. I also want to thank the numerous faculty who continue to collaborate with the center to share all of their innovative ideas and teaching strategies. You know, the move to online teaching that all faculty had to make in the winter, it was abrupt and it was challenging. It really was impossible to fully prepare for that scenario, but we found a way through it. But really, since that unprecedented moment, our faculty have responded. Since the end of the winter semester, well over 100 faculty have attended or at least registered for online and hybrid training sessions through the center. In addition, more than 60 adjunct faculty are currently enrolled in those same trainings. In fact, when the fall semester starts, we're confident that the majority of faculty on campus will be trained in these areas. I mean, SVSU is more prepared than ever to offer quality education using enhanced technology for really all types of academic instruction. You know, our faculty are leading the trainings to prepare for the fall semester. You know, the Center for Academic Innovation hosts Faculty Fridays, which are weekly sessions in which faculty share ideas on how to implement a variety of pedagogical approaches. These sessions have discussed how to live stream using Echo 360, as well as using Canvas and Teams to enhance all types of academic instruction. You know, 50 to 60 faculty attend these sessions each week, which really shows that dedication. And the center also hosts the faculty conversations for preparing for the fall 2020 semester. This is a weekly series that discusses topics to help faculty develop courses specifically for instruction in the fall semester. Approximately 75 faculty have attended these sessions each week. And really a significant aspect of these SVSU faculty-led trainings discuss the innovative pedagogical strategies that can be used to teach face-to-face courses in the fall. These strategies can be used when we're teaching traditional face-to-face courses that can accommodate all students enrolled in a course. But we also know that because of social distancing guidelines, there will be some face-to-face courses that cannot accommodate all of the students in the class at one time. But once again, I think our faculty are stepping up, they're responding. They are developing courses that may be technology enhanced, that may ask students to attend on a rotating basis, that maybe emphasizes in-class discussions and offer unique experiential learning opportunities. And really throughout the remainder of the summer, the Center for Academic Innovation will continue to highlight these and other possible pedagogical strategies that can be used for the fall semester. You know, faculty across all academic departments have been working collaboratively during this time. You know, there are a lot of unique aspects to instruction that occur within a specific academic discipline. And many departments have shared examples really of how they are working with their professional organizations, maybe with their colleagues across the country or even across the world to prepare for that fall semester. I mean, it's amazing. Our faculty's dedication to providing that quality educational experience for our students in the fall, it's really been truly impressive. And I am confident that our students will be excited about the experience that they will have. Next slide, please, Jason. You know, we've received some additional questions related to how the classrooms will be set up in the fall. A similar slide was shown in a previous town hall presentation, and it is an example of how the new layout of a socially distanced classroom will be set up. And as you can see, the capacity of the classroom has been reduced. The chairs have been removed to limit some of the individuals in the room. And at this time, you know, every instructional space that was identified, including labs, have been evaluated. I would like to thank campus facilities, Ron Portwine, Mike Pastro, Kim Stevens, and others for really their continued work and preparing all of the instructional spaces and really all locations across campus for the fall semester. Next slide, please, Jason. You know, we have received numerous questions regarding how we can maximize face-to-face interactions really in this context of social distancing. Our campus is spacious and we have low class sizes. And so SVSU will be able to offer face-to-face courses that can accommodate all of the students that are enrolled in that class at the same time. In fact, many of our face-to-face courses will be able to do this. But as I mentioned earlier, we know that social distancing guidelines will require that many of our face-to-face courses limit the number of students that can be in attendance at one single time. But again, many faculty have expressed the desire to meet with their students as much as possible. And it is our goal that face-to-face courses offered in the fall can accommodate at least half of the students enrolled at any one time. And one way to accomplish this is that we have partnered with campus facilities and the conference center to add a variety of instructional spaces. In fact, the banquet rooms and the seminar rooms will offer 5 additional instructional spaces for courses. Furthermore, we'll be using the Malcolm Field Theater, the Rhea Miller Recital Hall, the Ott Auditorium, Zano 111, and a variety of other spaces that can be used as an instructional space for fall 2020. The slide shows a picture of a seminar room that is now set up as an instructional space. In fact, the seminar rooms are able to accommodate 42 students at one time while maintaining social distancing guidelines. Each academic college right now is working through their schedule and identifying courses that should be moved into these new instructional spaces. And really over the upcoming weeks, we will continue to evaluate what courses need to be moved into these instructional spaces and other instructional spaces across campus. Next slide, please, Jason. The Zano Library will reopen its doors early in July. And we know that the services of the library are essential to the success, not only of our students, but also our faculty and staff at SVSU. The library is going to look a little different. I mean, the furniture is going to be rearranged to meet social distancing guidelines, but we are planning for all library services to be available during the open hours. The library staff is absolutely committed to providing a safe atmosphere that will really support both faculty and students for summer instruction as well as preparing for fall instruction. And it's going to happen both in a remote process and an in-person process. I think it's also important that we highlight the work of our tutoring centers located in the Gerstacker Learning Commons. A group of faculty and staff of the Center for Academic Achievement, the Writing Center, as well as the Math and Physics Resource Center, they've really transformed the way that they are providing academic support for our students. The opportunities for remote tutoring have been increased significantly as a result of the transition to online instruction and throughout both the spring and summer semesters. And right now we are putting measures in place to offer safe and meaningful face-to-face tutoring experiences, and more to come on that later. Also a significant amount of effort has and will continue to go into planning for the fall. We know that many of our students are going to need support to really prepare for the next semester and to navigate the upcoming semester. A component of the Nest Ambassadors program, which JJ mentioned earlier, is to identify a group of student leaders throughout campus that will really provide general academic success and technology support. This may include helping develop study skills and time management skills, maybe it's navigating the library and much, much more. So that is going to be a strong focus to help support our students in the upcoming semester. I believe what separates SVSU is the support that our faculty and staff provide our students. I mean, that was my experience when I was a student here, and it continues to be my experience throughout the 14 years that I've worked at this institution. But with that said, that support for our students really has never been more important than it is today. And I appreciate everything that everyone is doing to accomplish that. So now I'd like to introduce Jim Maher, Executive Director of Information Technology Services, to talk about technology.
Thank you, Dr. Odie. Next slide, Jason, please. First, I'd like to take this time to thank those that have been and are serving on the technology implementation team. As shown, we have several of the academic and administrative areas represented. We've had some great discussions and dialogue identifying those issues and concerns we felt that needed to be addressed for a successful return to SVSU. Our goal was to ensure as best we could that we had the right things in place should we be moved to a full or partial work, teach, or learn from home situation again sometime during the fall semester. The Center for Academic Innovation, in collaboration with ITS, also held 3 well-attended faculty forums to ensure we understood the needs and concerns of the faculty as they prepared to teach this fall. We also surveyed students and received input from student focus groups regarding their experiences using the technology during the winter 2020 semester. As we discussed, we decided to focus on 5 key areas, academic and administrative, and the 5 areas are listed here. Through our discussions over several meetings, 2 meetings per week for several weeks, we noted 94 issues and concerns. We've developed action plans and have been working to address the identified items. We're very excited to announce that several of these have actually been completed already. For example, we wanted to provide technology for faculty and students to allow for an in-classroom and off-campus experience for courses. So now we've got approval to equip an additional 50 classrooms with Echo 360 appliances, cameras, and microphones. 2 areas that were prevalent in our discussions were the tools used for teaching and learning and the potential lack of available technology needed for working and learning from off campus. As this slide shows, the common set of tools for teaching that could be used in various course delivery modalities are listed. It was determined that training and best practice documentation should also be made available for the new and existing tools. This has been done. To find this information, simply go to mysupport.svsu.edu and search for teaching tools. You'll find many resources there. The IT Support Center and Instructional Technology Department continue to offer workshops on these specific tools, as well as other software. There are classes listed from now through the end of August. Evening classes are also offered. Register at svsu.edu/workshops. With the sudden move to online during the winter 2020 semester, it became evident that some faculty, students, and staff did not have adequate technology to work or study from home. ITS and the library worked together to provide a checkout process for those that needed technology equipment. For those that may need equipment during the fall semester, simply go to My Support to see what's available. It's listed on the main landing page. The equipment inventory is updated several times per week. Simply click Request Resource to arrange for needed equipment. 2 other areas that were evident in our discussions were computer labs for training and training for students. Because of social distancing, there will be fewer devices and seats in computer labs. We are currently piloting virtual desktop software so students can use their own devices to access computer lab environments remotely. We're really excited about this. We're also expanding home use licensing for some of the key programs so students can directly install the software on their own devices and not need to come to campus to access a lab if the situation is such. And finally, as Josh had kind of indicated, we're really excited to be working with a group of NEST ambassadors that will be assisting us with some of the technology initiatives. A key goal is to provide readily available training materials for students to navigate the online tools that they may encounter during the semester. We're looking for their excitement to bring to some of those training videos to ignite and engage our students. And now, to talk about the student experience, I'd like to introduce our Associate Provost for Student Affairs and Dean of Students, Dr. Sydney Childs.
Thanks, Jim. Good afternoon, everyone. I am really excited to share with everyone what the student experience would look like when our students return to campus. But first of all, I'd like to thank the members of the Student Experience Implementation Team for their hard work in preparing for fall reopening. This is a group of faculty, staff, and students from across campus, such as offices such as Campus Financial Services, Admissions, the Registrar's Office, Student Life, just a residence life, a group of folks across the campus, and a faculty member from the FAST program. These are people who are committed to, and students, and these are people who are committed to providing high quality services and programs to create an enriching experience in a safe and healthy environment, and your work is very much appreciated. In our work, we did keep a few basic principles in mind, what we expect, what our students can expect when they return to campus. Here you can see that student engagement at the university and with other students is central to the student experience. SVSU remains committed to creating robust opportunities for social engagement on campus and in the residence halls that meet safety guidelines and the expectations that have been set before us. However, the engagement on campus is going to be different. It's going to look different when they return in the fall. And what is it going to look like? So first of all, you do know we have the safety protocols in place for students. And these are the things that will be in place that students can expect. PPE in offices, masks, plexiglass, gloves, etc. But what we want you to know is that these will be in place and they can expect to see that when they arrive on campus. They'll notice that in certain places, there will be lounge in gathering spaces, the furniture in those areas will be reconfigured in the lobbies, in common spaces and meeting rooms. To prepare for the fall and prepare for out of class experience for students, students can expect the same type of activities that they had when they were here in the winter. Many of the traditions that students have participated in, such as Fresh Start, opening weekend, welcome weeks, activities, cards party, etc. They will continue, they just will look different. Additionally, students will still have the opportunity to find their place and build community here at the university. For example, we have over 180 registered student organizations that students will still have an opportunity to join. They still will be able to participate in Valley Nights, which is our movies, but they may be different. It will be outside or perhaps streamed. We're working to have that in place for when you return. Other opportunities for engagement will be club and intramural sports. Fitness classes will be available. Perhaps they will be virtual classes as well as in person. Community services still be available to students, but limited to campus. Fraternity and sorority life, the residence life environment will still take place, but it will look different. But what does that mean in terms of what it will look like? It will be online activities, online experience, in-person experiences, or a combination of the two. But we will be working with students to ensure that they promote their events and activities through social media and other promotional opportunities available on campus. Furthermore, what can students expect when engaging with campus offices? Students will continue to receive advising and other supportive services from faculty and staff, primarily in a remote environment. For example, students can expect to be visiting with their faculty member during the office hours. It will be remote. Individual and group counseling through the Student Counseling Center will continue to be through teleservices as it is now, and even in academic advising will be remote with opportunities for one-on-one and face-to-face opportunities in the office. You will notice that we've mentioned that admission tours can take place virtually, but we've also had some small group tours that are actually on campus, as the president mentioned earlier. Finally, living and learning in community in this new environment requires everyone to do their part. And to assist students to be able to do that, as my colleagues talked about Nest environment, Nest ambassadors, we have also designed or created a group of Nest ambassadors who will continue to promote healthy and safety engagement on campus while engaging in the student experience. These are students who we've identified to serve as influencers to lead health and healthy behaviors. These will be students who are creating social norms and creating a social responsibility for we all to be able to model the behaviors that needs to be in place to ensure that students engage in a safe and healthy way. Opportunities for students to apply for these positions will be coming soon. And we are excited about the students who have expressed some interest in this environment to serve as NEST ambassadors. And we look forward to moving forward with this opportunity as students can come back to campus. At this time, I'd like to turn it back over to JJ to talk about how we will continue to communicate the changes that we have set before you in the fall.
Thank you very much, Sydney. And first, I want to say that we have heard from a few folks that some may be encountering a few technical difficulties. If you're seeing this live, you're probably not among those people. But if you happen to hear from one of your colleagues that they were encountering some technical difficulties, please let them know that this is being recorded. The recording is going fine, and so we will be posting that, again, to the Virtual Town Hall website after today's town hall is concluded. As Sydney mentioned, we are taking steps with a number of initiatives to make sure that we're communicating developments on a regular basis now as we get closer and closer to the start of the fall semester. One of the things that you will see coming out, we expect later today, will be weekly NEST bulletins. These are going to have information on various items pertaining to the return to campus and other health and safety measures. And this is a mock-up of what we think that first edition is going to look like. And one of the things that we know is going to be very important, again, in creating this culture of safety and of shared responsibility is really focusing on 5 key elements. We need to be focusing on masks and face coverings. I know we've gotten more questions that have come in today regarding that. And again, we will have that full mask and face coverings protocol coming out and shared with the campus community very soon. Physical distancing is going to be very important. And you've heard several of our speakers today talk about how that's being implemented in various areas. Self-screening. Those of us who are coming back to campus on a more regular basis, there's an online form that we complete, and that's going to be, that's already available and will be part of our planning for the upcoming academic year as well. Hand hygiene is very important. We all need to be washing our hands, carrying hand sanitizer, all of those kinds of things. And finally, and perhaps most importantly, that's be considerate of others. Caring for your fellow Cardinal is the best thing that we all can do to keep one another healthy and safe. And so we are going to be reinforcing all of these with all of our audiences as we continue to move forward in the coming weeks. And so with that, I would like to start bringing forward some of the questions that we've received. Again, I mentioned that we continue to have questions come through about masks, but also some have been asking specifically about the use of face shields potentially instead of masks in some instances. Rob Valentine, could you provide an update on what we're hearing and what we're doing in that regard?
Certainly, JJ, thank you. We are working with Covenant, which we talked about it at the last town hall, is our partner in looking at all health and safety issues. We're also working with the health and safety team on campus, one of the implementation teams who's been working very, very hard behind the scenes. And we hope to have an answer next week on face shields. At this time, as you mentioned earlier, and Corey talked about the mask policy, we are ready, but we'll come back after talking some additional time with Covenant. We also are talking to, looking at the possibility of people with a disability and somebody that, some situations where someone may be hearing impaired. So we're looking at all those factors, and then we will come back with a policy next week.
All right, thank you, Rob. Also, one of the questions that came in, I mentioned the daily screening form. That is something that you would complete on days that you are coming to campus, is when you complete the daily screening form. Another item that people remain curious about is intercollegiate athletics. We received several questions about that this week again. And so, Jim Mullador, could you provide us with an update on what we might expect as it pertains to intercollegiate athletics?
Yes, certainly, JJ. Good afternoon to everyone. Unfortunately, there is much uncertainty in the world of athletics, as I think most of you are well aware. Our athletic director, John Decker, President Bashan, and myself have numerous conversations throughout the week in terms of what we might expect this fall. At this point in time, there is no definitive answer to give you. Obviously, you see some activity at the Division I level. SVSU is a NCAA Division II program. Our guidance does come from NCAA as well as our conference, the Great Lake Intercollegiate Athletic Conference. We want to be back in the fall in terms of competition. Our coaches and our athletic staff want to be back, as well as 500 student athletes that are very important to the institution, obviously want to be back. So we are planning our best. We would hope to have teams back for practices in early August in anticipation of a start in September, but it remains to be seen when that would actually happen. There was also some questions about the fan experience and tailgating. Obviously, we need to have the games so that we can consider the issue of fan experience, but if we do play games, we have not really decided yet whether we would have fans or perhaps a limited number in attendance. Tailgating would be the same response. If we don't have games, I think we probably all would like to have a great party at some point in time, and we'll find a way to do that virtually.
All right, thank you very much, Jim. And again, seeing the questions come through on the daily screening form. Corey, could you just provide people kind of with an update on our daily screening procedures?
Sure, JJ. Yes, so as was mentioned earlier, our daily screening form is available online. It's a really quick 3-question process that asks you about various symptoms. And as you go through that daily screening form, if you have to answer yes to any of those questions, we ask that you not report to campus and that you contact your supervisor for guidance.
Thank you, Corey. We're also receiving questions about taking people's temperatures. For faculty and staff, again, we're encouraged to self-screen before we come to campus. For students, we'll be encouraging that as well, but we are exploring some other options also. Jim Molitor, can you provide an update on some of the other avenues we're exploring?
Yes, JJ, I would be pleased to. Through the reentry team, we have had much discussion about temperatures and technology and have been researching what is available in the marketplace in terms of dependable technology. And we have identified a firm or a vendor that provides temperature kiosks that would allow us to engage in voluntary contactless screening for fever. And that technology would provide a result in less than 2 seconds. We still need to do some additional research and due diligence, but we are relatively close to a contract with this firm. We're looking at potentially 12 locations throughout campus that we would deploy these kiosks, and we intend to have this available prior to the start of the fall semester.
All right, thank you, Jim. Also, since we made our announcement last week about the fall semester finishing online and with remote instruction after Thanksgiving, we've received more questions about what does that mean, kind of some clarifying questions. Some of this will be covered in our first NEST bulletin when that comes out, but Deb Huntley, could you kind of clarify what this does and what this does not mean and kind of provide an update?
Yeah, sure. Thanks, JJ. Yeah, with Thanksgiving happening so late in the fall, there's a lot of concern about opportunities for new exposures. Certainly the late fall is the ramp up to flu season, and many epidemiologists are suggesting that there could be additional and a resurgence of the coronavirus as well. So we're very concerned about students going all over the state, visiting with families and friends and having celebrations, and the potential for a lot of exposure. So we made the decision to go to remote instruction after Thanksgiving to finish out the winter term. To finish out the fall term. Be very clear about that, to finish out the fall term. We have, at this point, we're still anticipating returning in the winter, depending on the prevailing health conditions at the time, and we'll be following that throughout the fall, and we'll be making appropriate decisions at the right time. With regard to students not returning to campus, instruction will be remote, but we intend, again, health conditions allowing, to keep the library open, the computer labs open, and so on, so that students can have access to academic support services and technology, because we know that's an issue for students. We are not actually requiring students to move out of their residence halls. We expect many will, but we will allow them to come back again so that they can have access to those services on our campus. We think that this will reduce the number of students on campus. We're not forcing them to move out, though, early. For those that do choose to move out before Thanksgiving, we are planning to offer partial housing rebates as well, like we did last semester. So to summarize, instruction will end at face-to-face instruction will end at Thanksgiving, will be fully remote instruction after. Most services on campus will remain. We'll be returning in January unless conditions don't allow us to do so.
Thank you, Deb. Looking at some of the other questions that have come through, we will explore options to make that daily screening form more easily accessible from our website. That's a good suggestion. Also, people have posed questions as it pertains to our commencement exercises that are currently planned for December. We have not made any final decisions in that regard. We are evaluating that. So know that we are exploring those, and we are looking into that like we are many other issues. We've also gotten some questions about access to the library, physical access to the library and academic support services. Josh, can you speak to that?
Yeah, sure, JJ. As I mentioned in the presentation, that the library will reopen in early July. The plan throughout the summer is that only the main entrance will be used for the library. We haven't decided on the open hours yet. There are some tentative plans on that, but the library will be sending out some more detailed information via email, on their social media, as well as their website. So that will be coming soon. In terms of the academic support offices and the learning commons, all tutoring services for the spring and summer semester have been remote, just to coincide with the remote instruction for those semesters. But we are working on plans to reopen those spaces and offer, again, safe face-to-face tutoring when possible. I also want to make a statement too that if faculty are interested, they can work directly with those centers to see if they're interested in embedding tutoring into their individual courses. So that's another option as well.
Josh, I think another question, or kind of a series of questions that I'm going to try to encapsulate for you, because we're getting some questions pertaining that are kind of discipline specific, choirs, theater, labs, classes where students might be touching teaching materials in the classroom. For those kinds of discipline specific questions, what's the process? How do people get more information?
So for the discipline-specific questions and concerns, those faculty and departments should work directly with their dean's offices. In fact, I know that a lot of those conversations have begun and being had. So I think the most important thing is, again, we understand that there are unique scenarios within academic disciplines, and the first place to have this discussion is with the deans. And we are in regular conversation with campus facilities and others around campus and health and safety about those unique situations that we need to consider. So the starting place is with the dean's office, and we will connect and get the right answers.
Okay, thank you. Both in advance and again during our virtual town hall today, we're getting questions about residential students returning to campus, our thinking in that regard, also about what we might need to do for isolating residential students who might test positive. Some of this was addressed in our first virtual town hall, but we'd be happy to provide an update. Ron Portwine, can you speak to that?
Yeah, sure, JJ, I'd be happy to address that. So we've been evaluating our housing accommodations for the upcoming fall semester, and we're going to be very pleased to welcome our Cardinals back on campus this fall. We decided to reduce density in a portion of our Pine Grove apartments and also the apartment style units within our living centers. This is going to be accomplished by converting some of the traditional spaces that were used as shared bedrooms into singles for the upcoming year. There will possibly be a few shared bedrooms utilized, but only if there are mutual roommate requests for that type of space. The result of this action is going to be a net reduction in our housing capacity of approximately 220 beds. And Dawn Eisler and her team are diligently working on room assignments and hope to have the majority of those assignments published soon after the 4th of July holiday. Some other changes that students can expect when they arrive back on campus for housing, they're going to see things like capacity limitations in elevators, in laundry rooms, and in lounge space, if you will. There's going to be an increased sanitization of frequently touched surfaces, and you might also encounter one-way stairwell traffic in living centers to help promote social distancing. In the unfortunate event that a residential student were to test positive for COVID-19, we'll be actively working with the local health department to determine what the appropriate action is for that particular case. It's possible that our student may be directed to isolate or quarantine within their residential unit. We're also setting aside one of our apartment buildings in Pine Grove as an isolation or quarantine space. And in some instances, a student may elect to return to their permanent residence as well.
All right, thank you, Ron. One of the other questions that has come through is about our registered student organizations and how we're considering the sizes of those RSOs when they're planning their meeting schedule for the upcoming semester. Sydney, can you, I think, elaborate a little bit on what you talked about during your presentation?
Sure, JJ. So when RSOs meet, they will go through the reservation system just as they've always had. However, we will be monitoring the size of their group and organization to make sure that they are utilizing and be placed in the appropriate room that based on their size. And we will be encouraging students to hold their events virtually. So if there may be a RSO who has an organization meeting that meets every other week or every other month, we will encourage them to perhaps have that meeting through Microsoft Teams or Zoom, or if there's a space available, we'll have them be in that particular location based on the size that's available, and should that space be available through the reservation system.
Okay, thank you very much. We do have a few other questions that were coming through and working to gather that information. And so again, please continue to visit our virtual town hall website as well as our Nest Plan website. There have been some questions that have come through about, again, that daily screening form, and that also the SVSU Nest Plan website also has a link to that daily screening form. So again, look for it there. And some of the other questions that we weren't able to answer live during the town hall, we do take those forward. And again, we're trying to develop those frequently asked questions and post that information. So again, we'd like to thank everyone who has participated today. Again, you will be receiving a survey after this town hall where you'll be able to provide your feedback on this and the two prior virtual town halls. And we will carefully consider that feedback in our planning moving forward. And I'd also like to personally thank everyone on the university communications team who's been working hard to help with these town halls and everything else that we've been doing in terms of communicating about the NEST plan, and then all the cooperation that is being received and is being part and parcel of what we're doing across the university. So again, thank you to everyone. And again, thank you to everyone for participating in today's virtual town hall. And again, a reminder that this will be posted. A video of this, a video recording of this will be posted at our town hall website. Again, thank you very much.